Welcome back to a brand new season of Sports Central. I'm your host, Peyton Price.
And I'm your other host, Jackson Bickers. We are so excited to bring you another fantastic year of sports coverage. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Football season is officially back in Mount Pleasant as the Central Michigan Chippewas kicked off their 2025 campaign under first-year head coach Matt Drinkle. The six-year Army offensive line coach took over the program this spring after former head coach Jim McElwain announced his retirement to end the 2024 season. To begin the newest era of CMU football, the Chippewas would head out west to take on the San Jose State Spartans in a late-night battle. Despite being 14.5-point underdogs, Central Michigan did not flinch, forcing 3 turnovers in the first half and finding the end zone once on the back of Tulane transfer running back Trey Cornist, who scampered into the end zone on a 29-yard run, putting CMU up at the break 13-7. A hard-nosed second half saw the Chippewas only put up 3 points, but the defense did its job, forcing 2 San Jose State field goal attempts that would both result in misses, helping the Chippewas secure the road win 16-13. Central pounded the rock in the victory, carrying the ball 51 times on the ground and saw both running backs collect 100 yards. Nari Biggins leading the way with 107 total yards, and Trey Cornist added an even 100. The victory also marked the first win in Matt Drinkle's tenure at Central Michigan and snapped a 10-game road losing streak for the Maroon and Gold. The Chippewas would then hit the road to face Pittsburgh in Acrisure Stadium. The Chippewas battled hard in this one and brought it to within 7 points midway through the third quarter. Unfortunately for CMU, the Panthers would rattle off 21 unanswered points, handing Central their first loss of the year, 45-17. From there, the Chippewas kept things in state for a battle at the Big House in Ann Arbor. Again, it would be the Wolverines, led by freshman phenom Bryce Underwood, that would handle business 63-3. After closing out the 3-week road trip, the Maroon and Gold would finally return home to Kelly Short Stadium to face Wagner last Saturday. And boy, did the Chippewas take their anger out, crushing the Seahawks 49-10. Quarterback Joe Labus was efficient, going 12 for 14 for 241 yards, along with tying a career high with 3 touchdown passes. Trey Cornist was the leading rusher with 52 yards, and running back Nari Biggins was the top receiver, adding 106 yards on 3 catches, including an 88-yard touchdown, which was CMU's longest play from scrimmage since 2012. Defensively, the Chippewas managed to hold Wagner to only 115 total yards, which included a pick-6 from linebacker Dakota Cochran on just the second play of the game. In total, 7 players found the end zone for CMU and was a great way to kick off the Matt Drinkle era at home. Central Michigan will look to maintain their momentum as they kick off MAC play at home against in-state rival Eastern Michigan this Saturday at 1 p.m.
CMU volleyball begins a new era this season. First-year head coach Ariel Wilson begins her tenure in the Maroon and Gold, taking over for Mike Gullick after one of the most successful seasons in program history. The Chippewas opened up their season in the doTERRA Classic in Provo, Utah. In Game 1, Central Michigan defeated High Point in 4 sets, obtaining the first win of Ariel Wilson's tenure. Brooklyn Connor and Maggie Hewitt set career highs in kills, with Connor tallying 12 and Hewitt adding on 8 of her own. CMU would drop the final 2 games of the tournament to number 19 ranked BYU and Fairleigh Dickinson, each in 4 sets. The next weekend, the Chippewas traveled to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the Panther Invitational. The Maroon and Gold fell in the first 2 matches of the tournament, getting swept by Iowa State and dropping the nightcap to South Alabama in 4 sets. The girls would bounce back, though, in their final game of the tournament, sweeping host Milwaukee. 2 Chippewas reached career marks in this one, with senior Abby Olin recording her 500th career kill and junior Keelan Mill tallying her 500th career assist. Central Michigan then traveled to Illinois for the Bradley Invitational, where they left the tournament with a 1-2 record. They swept the University of Missouri-Kansas City in the opener and then dropped the next 2 to Bradley and Jacksonville State. CMU would try and bounce back in Ann Arbor, but unfortunately got swept by the Wolverines in their first midweek matchup of the season. The final non-conference games of the year would take the Chippewas back to head coach Ariel Wilson's alma mater to play in the Penn State Classic. The trip to Happy Valley was not so happy for the Maroon and Gold, as they lost both games, getting swept by Princeton and then also falling to the defending national champions Penn State 3-0. The Chippewas will open up conference play on Thursday as they travel to take on Northern Illinois.
The Central Michigan women's soccer program is certainly searching for some positive momentum as we near the halfway mark in the season. The team saw 15 players graduate in 2024, the most in the NCAA, and replaced the massive senior class with 15 new faces, including 7 freshmen and 8 transfers. The team unfortunately got off to a slow start, dropping their first 6 non-conference games to open up the season and falling at home to Ohio 1-0 to open up MAC play. Last Friday, CMU would travel to Muncie to take on Ball State and try to get back on track after not scoring a goal through their first 7 contests of the year. Luckily for the Maroon and Gold, they answered that call, scoring their first goal of the 2025 season as incoming junior Milena Troy finished off the cross from the returning sophomore Olivia Bretz, which would tie the game up at 1 apiece early in the second. Central's defense stood tall the rest of the way, leaving Ball State with a draw 1-1. Following the contest, Chippewa head coach Jeremy Groves said he, along with his team, was encouraged by their goal against Ball State and that, quote, "This young team just needs games to grow. This team has so much potential." Speaking of potential, first-year starter, goalkeeper Braylee Borgman has been a star leading the defensive front. She sports a .829 save percentage and 29 saves through just 7 games. The Chippewas will look to turn things around with 3 of their next 4 games right here in Mount Pleasant. They'll face a Toledo squad this Thursday that wants to win just as badly as the Chippewas do, as the Rockets haven't added to the win column since September 4th, making Thursday's 7 p.m. match a potentially pivotal turning point for both these MAC foes.
The 2025 field hockey season is in full swing here in Mount Pleasant. The Chippewas began their 2025 campaign in Philadelphia, facing off against Drexel. CMU could not start their season on the right track, unfortunately, as they fell to the Dragons 2-1. 2 days later, the Maroon and Gold dropped their second game in Philadelphia, this time against the Temple Owls, 3-4. Looking for their first win of the new season, the Chippewas return to Mount Pleasant for a weekend series hosting the Mercyhurst Lakers. In Game 1, Central collected their first win of the season, winning 4-0, thanks to 2 goals from Carolina Ryan and a goal and assist from senior Mallory Cameron. CMU continued its momentum, completing the weekend sweep of Mercyhurst 2-0, thanks to Mallory Cameron netting 2 goals. The following weekend, Central hosted Colgate and Long Island, collecting another pair of wins. Over these 2 games, Mallory Cameron collected 10 points, reaching the milestone of 100 career points, helping CMU win 2-1 against Colgate and 9-3 against Long Island. The 4-game winning streak for the Chippewas was its longest since 2009, when they accomplished the same feat. This Friday, Central hosted James Madison, looking to extend their win streak. Unfortunately, the streak ended at 4 games as the Chippewas fell to the Dukes 5-2, bringing their record to 4-3 on the season. The Chippewas now have a pair of conference games this week, traveling to Muncie to take on Ball State before coming back home to face Ohio.
That'll wrap up our first recap of Central Michigan sports. I'm certainly looking forward to watching all our CMU athletes compete this season.
Coming up after the break, we take a deep dive into the world of professional sports.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry.
Maybe he can't hear us.
Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Welcome back to Sports Central. The 2025 NFL season has been a wild ride so far, from champions to struggles and fantasy managers wishing the season was already over. To start, the Indianapolis Colts are one of the 6 teams that start the season 3-0, with Daniel Indiana Jones leading the helm. Danny Dimes currently sits in the top 5 of all passing categories through the first 3 weeks, and the Colts have only punted once in that span. They've been so dominant that they have outscored their opponents 103-56. Going from the AFC South to the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also 3-0 for the first time since 2005, with Baker Mayfield being the first quarterback in NFL history to lead back-to-back-to-back game-winning drives with less than 2 minutes remaining through the first 3 games of the NFL season. No surprise to anyone, the San Francisco 49ers have hit the injury bug, losing quarterback Brock Purdy for 2 to 5 weeks with turf toe, and defensive lineman Nick Bosa for the year with a torn ACL. Staying on major injuries, the Cincinnati Bengals have lost former first-round pick Joe Burrow to a grade 3 turf toe, which will sideline him for 3 months and leave backup Jake Browning in charge of the offense. The reigning Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, start this season out a perfect 3-0 after winning a close one against the LA Rams on a blocked field goal by defensive lineman Jordan Davis. Comparatively, the Kings of the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, have had a rough start, going 0-2 to start the season for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era, but got into the win column last night against the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football. How about the hometown team? Well, the Detroit Lions still have a lot to prove after falling to the Packers to open up the season and blowing out the Ben Johnson-led Bears in Week 2. They will look to improve to 2-1 on the season as they take on the 1-1 Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football tonight.
The MLB regular season is nearing an end and playoff races tightening up. This season has been a roller coaster of emotions for some fan bases. A number of teams have found once comfortable playoff positions slip away here in September. The Detroit Tigers owned a 15.5-game lead on the Cleveland Guardians on July 6th. As of September 20th, that lead is now dropped to just 1 game. It is a similar story for the New York Mets as they no longer find themselves in a playoff position. The first time that has been the case since April, with only 7 games left in the regular season. Multiple teams have already made the playoffs. For the American League, the Toronto Blue Jays are the lone team to clinch a playoff berth. In the National League, the Chicago Cubs and Los Angeles Dodgers have secured playoff berths, while the Philadelphia Phillies and Milwaukee Brewers have clinched their respective divisions. As for the top performers through this season so far, 3 players have crossed the 50-home run mark. Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Schwarber share the National League lead with 53 homers, while Cal Raleigh leads both leagues with 57 homers. The pitching this season has been nothing short of spectacular. 11 pitchers this season have a sub-3 earned run average. Paul Skeens leads the MLB in the category with an ERA just a hair above 2. Garrett Crochet leads the league with 249 strikeouts, with the closest pitcher to that number being Tarik Skubal with 233 strikeouts. With the end of the season nearing, it will be interesting to see how this playoff race shapes out. From shifting defenses to shifting gears, let's send it over to Lauren for a quick update on the world of motorsports.
Thanks, guys. Motorsports have been absolutely wild lately, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. That excitement isn't just on the track, at least in the case of Formula One. The teams are turning heads and making headlines worldwide. Off the track, Cadillac is pushing to become the 11th team on the grid, led by American driver Colton Herta, as their test driver and multi-year partnership with Jim Beam. Their base of operations will be at the GM's Global Technical Center here in Warren, Michigan. At the same time, Audi is also planning their 2026 entry, taking over Sauber. While the future is looking bright, the present season is just as thrilling. At Monza, Max Verstappen reminded everyone why he's the reigning champion, winning the Italian Grand Prix by over 19 seconds and breaking the record for the fastest race in F1 history. Next up, for Formula One, the streets of Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Meanwhile, the MotoGP history is in the making. As Marc Marquez dominates the season, the switch from Honda to Ducati has paid off with 11 victories and setting a new season single record with 512 points and counting. With 6 races still left, he could easily lock up his first world title since 2019. All he has to do is outscore his brother Alex by 3 points in Japan's Grand Prix to set up possibly one of the highest stakes brother versus brother showdowns we've seen in years. Switching over to NASCAR, the playoff pressure is on. Christopher Bell locked himself into the next round with a victory at the Bass Pro Shops Bristol Night Race in Tennessee, and 18-year-old Connor Zelish continues to make a name for himself in the Xfinity Series, winning the regular season final at the New Way 200 and setting rookie lap-led records along the way. All eyes now shift to the round of 12 as the drivers compete for the spot in the round of 8. That'll wrap up things for motorsports. Now toss it over to Aiden, who has more on the combat sports world.
Thanks, Lauren. Days ago, the world has treated to a long-awaited Crawford versus Canelo boxing match. Coming into the fight, Terence Crawford was 41-0 with 31 knockouts and was undisputed in the lightweight and welterweight division. Looking to build his legacy and claim himself as the best boxer currently, he took on the challenge of moving up weight classes to take on Canelo Alvarez, who is considered by majority currently the best. The main concern mainly was Canelo's power would be too much for Crawford, who wouldn't have his usual speed advantage due to moving up weight classes. Coming into the fight, Canelo was 63-2 with 31 knockouts. Both men were visibly ready on the days following up to the match. No signs of fear for either, even throwing jabs before the fight when Crawford walked up to mariachi music wearing a poncho holding a guitar case as a knock towards Canelo by stealing his style. The fight was 12 3-minute rounds and sold out Allegiant Stadium in Vegas and currently gave the crowd the show. Throughout the fight, both athletes traded shots, Crawford gaining the early advantage before Canelo made things interesting in later rounds. Ultimately, Terence Crawford would end the unanimous decision and is now undefeated in 3 different weight classes. Following the fight, both boxers paid respect to each other in different ways. Canelo said in the post-fight conference that Crawford was more skilled than Floyd Mayweather, who also lost earlier in his career. Additionally, Crawford let Canelo keep his belts, deciding to give his own newly earned title. Speaking of titles, after we break, We will discuss the start to NFL season and make our early predictions for the Super Bowl.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 68 children is diagnosed with autism. That's about a 30% increase in 2 years. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Welcome back to Sports Central. I'm joined by Ryan, Evan, and Austin. And we're going to talk about some NFL award predictions. Just about 3 weeks in, we still got the Lions and Ravens tonight to finish off the Week 3 slate. I'm going to start over here with you, Ryan. Who's your MVP favorite right now?
I'm going to have to go with Justin Herbert. The Chargers are 3-0. He's been a big reason in that. He's been amazing for them so far, and he's finally really breaking out this year after some disappointing seasons.
Yeah, he's been fantastic for the Chargers. Really just kind of been their leader, kind of someone that they've been able to just lean on and someone stable for them. And he's really been one of the best quarterbacks in the league so far. I'm going to turn to you, Evan. Who's your MVP favorite right now?
I think it's Josh Allen. I've been really impressed with him through 2 weeks. I think their offense is one of the top 5 in the AFC, probably top 2 in the AFC, top 5 in the NFL. I think he's going to have a good year, and I think it's his to win.
Yeah, he's been really good this year, taking care of the ball, which has kind of been something that Josh Allen struggled with. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Do you think he can kind of maintain that throughout this season?
I do. He's been setting his feet more. He hasn't been like throwing off balance. Rolling out is not really his thing right now. The offensive line is staying structure, and he's been able to complete passes at a high rate.
A good run game has really been huge for that, with James Cook having a lot of success. Austin, who you got for your MVP pick right now?
Well, I'm kind of going to debunk that, and I'm going to go a quarterback who actually beat Lamar. And to start the season off, Josh Allen. He's got 964 yards. And a fun fact about Josh Allen, also with Justin Herbert as well, he would be, the quickest player to get 1,000+ passing yards in a season since, I believe I wrote down here, it was Josh McCown for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2007. Quickest to do that in a 4-game period if he can just get 300 or so yards in Week 4 coming up for the Buffalo Bills. But I'm going to stick with Josh Allen as my MVP.
Someone I want to bring up right now is the hometown quarterback, Jared Goff. Statistically, he's right up there with everyone. First in completion percentage at 80%, 6 touchdowns, only 1 pick that came in the Green Bay game. Ryan, he really struggled in that first Green Bay game, came back, bounced back against the Bears, got a tough matchup against the Ravens tonight. Do you think Jared Goff can make a run for it?
I do think he can. I mean, if he keeps up what he was doing against the Bears, especially against the Ravens, has a big game, can lead the Lions to more wins, he could totally be in that conversation for MVP.
We got any more Jared Goff belief over here?
I think it's all about national spotlight. That Packers game was a national spotlight prime time. He did not perform well. Against the Bears, you're not really seeing too many people talk about that game. The game tonight against the Ravens is going to be big for him.
Yeah, it was really tough against Packers. Still, that D-line really caused some chaos. We also saw the Packers, though, destroy the Commanders, so maybe they could just be the real deal this year. I want to shift over to Offensive Rookie of the Year. Austin, who's your favorite so far?
I'm going to go with Amarion Hampton. He 48 yards in Week 1, 24 yards in Week 2, and 70 yards in Week 3. And then obviously Najee Harris is out now for the Chargers, and Jim Harbaugh is a run-heavy coach. So I would like to see Amarion Hampton succeed in that Chargers offensive line. And Joe Alt is a great offensive lineman for those Chargers too. And like I said, Harbaugh likes to run the ball.
Yeah, Harbaugh loves to run the ball. And offensive coordinator Greg Roman, he was that offensive coordinator with Lamar when he came into the league, and they really love to pound the rock, quarterback runs. They don't really have that with Justin Herbert, but that sustained run game has been huge for the Chargers. I want to go to you, Evan. Who's your Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite?
Well, I've been impressed with the Indianapolis Colts, and Tyler Warren, who has been playing all over the field for them, has been really good so far. I think Daniel Jones has been a big part of the connection, and I'm excited to see how they continue, but he's my favorite so far.
Yeah, Shane Steichen, he's a great offensive mind, finding creative ways to use Tyler Warren, the same way they used him at Penn State. He's good at blocking. They can even quarterback just straight give it to him, while the Wildcat, he's been awesome for the Colts. Ryan, who's your Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite?
I'm going to have to go with the chalk pick, Emeka Egbuka. I mean, 2 touchdowns week 1. He's had a couple more in weeks 2 and 3, and he's been a huge reason why the Buccaneers are winning games, even with Mike Evans having an injury.
Emeka Egbuka, he's been great. Came right out of wide receiver U. You heard it right here first round pick, out of wide receiver U. Someone I want to talk about that we haven't brought up is Cam Skattebo for the Giants. Tyrone Tracy, he's out with an injury. Skattebo's gotten a lot of carries the last 2 games, scored a touchdown, really kind of that power horse back that Brian Dable can lean on in that offense. So do we like Skattebo for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Well, he succeeded in college. I know that for a fact. And, running for the Giants, and who knows what's going to happen with the quarterback situation with Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson, that they could shift throughout the season. And I think that running game for the New York Giants could go through Cam Skattebo as well.
It's a great point with the quarterback situation. Ryan, I want to turn to our Super Bowl predictions. Who you got right now? I know we're very early into the season, but just straight off these first 3 weeks, who you like?
I'm liking the Bills have looked really good. I think Bills, Ravens, you can't ever count out the Chiefs. Those 3 are probably my favorites out of the AFC, and I think one of those teams, specifically the Bills, I think that's my Super Bowl prediction. Out of the NFC, it could be the Eagles again, it could be the Lions, it could be even the Buccaneers, but I do think the Bills will come out and win the Super Bowl for the first time ever.
Austin, who you got? Who's your 2 favorites right now if you had to choose?
It's going to be the Bills and the Eagles, both 3-0 teams right now. And the Eagles, I mean, they've beat the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Rams already. The Bills have beaten the Ravens, Jets, and Dolphins. So I do like the Bills and Eagles. But like you said, Evan, the Chiefs are inevitable. So I could see them squeezing into the playoffs as well. I don't know about the Super Bowl. We'll have to wait to see who sings at the Super Bowl halftime show. It could be Taylor Swift. And if Taylor Swift is there, the Chiefs will probably be there as well. But that'll be determined in the next few weeks. But I got Eagles and Eagles and Bills.
We all know the higher-ups want the Chiefs there. Evan, I'm going to go to you. Who are your 2 Super Bowl favorites right now?
I guess everybody's saying Bills, so I'm going to follow that. I think Josh Allen's going to win MVP and Super Bowl MVP. I think it's going to be one of the Lions, Packers, and Eagles as the team they're going to face, but I got the Bills.
Yeah, I like the Bills too. I'm going to go different in the NFC. I'm going to go with the hometown team, the Detroit Lions. First week, you got a lot of young starters on that offensive line. I'm going to say that this is a fluke. The Lions will bounce back, beat the Packers on Thanksgiving, and then it'll be Lions, Bills in the Super Bowl. Now, don't go anywhere because we got Peyton's crew up next. They're going to be talking about their surprise teams this year, some teams that disappointed them, some surprise players, and disappointing players, all next on Sports Central.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
What an awesome job by Jackson's crew, but now my panel's up to close out the show. Let's start off first. A couple of surprising teams. Coop, you want to start us off?
Do you mean surprising in a good way or a bad way?
Either or.
Miami Dolphins, surprisingly bad, in my opinion. Really bad.
Yeah, Tua's gone. I hate to say it. Tua's gone. Trevin, you got a surprising team, either good or bad?
Surprising team, bad. Kansas City Chiefs really fell off this year. Want to know why? Patrick Mahomes not playing his best football as he could. Travis Kelce, he ain't receiving the ball. Every time I see him go for the receive, he always fumbles it. Every time. Never seen a completion out of him yet.
Deshaun?
I want to say that this team really surprised and then kind of disappointed at the same time. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. They went 2-0 start off the year with convincing wins against playoff teams, and then they just lost to the Browns. I don't know. That was just like a little bit of a trap game, it seemed like, but not in a good way at all. It didn't look good for Jordan Love. No.
No. And it looked great for us as Lions fans, but
yeah,
the Pack, I don't know. It's going to look shaky. My team, it's kind of going to shift into our next segment, too. I want to talk about the Indianapolis Colts real quick. Where did they come from? I mean, Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, out of nowhere. And I was kind of a lover of Daniel Jones before, I was thinking he just needs to get out of New York and he can succeed. He got out of New York. He went to kind of a dying team for a couple of years with Anthony Richardson, and he's revived them, and now they're hot. So I'm going to transition that to my surprising player before I give it to you guys, is Daniel Jones. Cooper?
I'd have to say Daniel Jones, too. I think people doubted him after New York, and I think he's proven that he can be a starting quarterback. But I also got to give it to the owner of the Colts, too, being on the sideline. Listening to him on the headset and just knowing what's going on the sideline. I got to give respect to that.
Definitely a controversial happening in the world of the Colts there. The new owner, I believe it's daughter of Jim Irsay, on the sidelines with the headset listening to everything. One could see that as micromanaging. One could see that as just taking accountability. What do you think for surprising players, Trevin?
Surprising players? Well, I know at one point I had said Jordan Love, but I'm going to switch my mind on that. Honestly, like you guys said, Daniel Jones. Like, he was in New York. I remember I doubted him. He was not the best. He didn't really have a good O-line to help him out. But now he's out of New York. He's with Indy, and he's doing some great things there. Also, another surprising player I have, Aaron Rodgers. Surprisingly good. Here's why. Again, same situation. He was in New York. He had that Achilles injury back in 2023. The year after that, didn't have the greatest year. Got to New York, having one of his better seasons he's had in a while since he's left the Packers.
Still early.
Still early, but from what I've seen, better.
I like that. Deshaun?
To all you watching out there at home, Jacory Krosky-Merritt is him. The Commanders found themselves a late-round running back, and he's been doing spectacular. He's been doing amazing. He's been getting yards that just working on the ground. No daylight. Just pounding through the defense, and I think he's doing a great job.
I like that. Really quickly, I just want to go around. Who do you guys have for MVP favorites so far?
MVP favorites? Dark horse Daniel Jones. I'd have to say that. If he can keep this up with the Colts, I think really he is a serious contender.
I like that. Especially, in my eyes, MVP is coming from the guy that gets your team the most wins that the next guy might not. Yeah. And that really seems like Daniel Jones right now. What do you think, Trevin?
I think MVP will be one of two people, Justin Herbert from the LA Chargers, and from my hometown team, the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff.
Okay.
I love that. I love that. Me personally, Jared Goff's my guy. I got his jersey. And talk to me about this, Trevin. When you get a guy that has time in the pocket, who better than Jared Goff tears up a defense?
Exactly. Here's why. Because when you got a lot of time with the pocket, we got a good O-line like Dan Skipper and Penei Sewell, right? So, you got to give you time to get Ross St. Brown about 40, 50 yards down the field. He will rip the ball, just rip it down the field. Give it to St. Brown and for the tutty. Or just like that reverse pass he made during the Seahawks last season. That was great.
All right, real quick, Deshaun.
The Polo Bear right now is going to go for the wild card pick. I'm going to go ahead and say Baker Mayfield. He's been doing an excellent job with Tampa Bay. And I think he's going to continue to do an excellent job no matter what team he plays. He's going to get at least 200 yards passing the game. Going to get at least 50 yards rushing per game. He has some good pieces to use with Mike Evans and Bucky Irvin. I think they'll do a fantastic job making the playoffs and going for a Super Bowl run.
I like that. And I thank you for giving me a great opportunity to bounce off of that as we transition to Super Bowl favorites. My controversial hot take here is Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Trevin, who are you feeling?
All right. Well, I'm going to say the same thing I did last year. But give me the Bills on the AFC. Give me my hometown team, Detroit Lions, in the NFC.
I like that. Deshaun?
Previously, I really thought about Lions Chargers, but I don't know now. It's really a tough race in the AFC. You got the Colts who have emerged. You have still the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Ravens, who probably will need to make a little bit of an adjustment because they've had some rocky starts in the past 3 weeks. So I will give it to the Lions versus the Ravens. I trust that the Ravens will turn it around, and I see that as a Super Bowl matchup.
And Coop, to close us off?
I think I'd agree with Deshaun on this one and just say that tonight's game against the Lions and Ravens, I think that's going to be a really good matchup, and I see that as the Super Bowl preview right there.
All right. That'll close things up for this episode of Sports Central. Be sure to follow us on all social medias. I've been Peyton Price.
And I'm Jackson Bickers. And
this has been
Sports Central.